family weekend. It's going to be another glorious day once that fog lifts. It always is sunny on homecoming and family weekend, and we're 10 for 10 right now with the Hall of Fame Saturday, so we're going to keep it going. My name is Jeff Hazard. I'm the Assistant Director of Athletics here at the college and also the Sports Information Director, and I'm proud to serve as the Chair of the Hall of Fame Committee, and I've been doing that, passed on from Don Fuelling, who we'll hear from a little later. Certainly a wonderful day. We hope everyone enjoys their weekend, and greetings to everyone in our 10th induction class into the Athletic Hall of Fame, which is pretty special. I can think back to my first year here, where I was actually fortunate enough to witness the first one, so I've kind of been here for all 10 of them, and it just keeps getting special. I mean, the individuals that we will induct today are certainly just as special as the ones that we inducted 10 years ago, and it just keeps getting better. At this time, I'd like to bring forward someone who is new to this as well. This is her first induction ceremony, someone that certainly is excited about taking this college to new areas of greatness. She's very excited to be here, and I'd like to introduce President Dr. Klanuski.
Good morning. This is a very exciting time for all of us. Our 10th induction into the Athletic Hall of Fame, and this is my first opportunity to participate, and I am truly grateful for that opportunity. I'm delighted to be able to recognize our alumni athletes and the pride that they continue to bring to our community. Our student athletes are an impressive group, and I see a lot of them here this morning. They represent us admirably, both on the playing field and in the classroom. Despite the many demands on their time, the practice, traveling and competition, the volunteer work that they do, they perform very well academically. Last year, in fact, 3 Oneonta athletes were named to the SUNY Chancellor's Scholar Athletes roster as conference's top academic performers in their sports. That's quite an honor. And 151 of our student athletes were named to the SUNY Commissioners List, or All-Academic Team. Now, lest you think that all they do is study, they do really well on the playing fields too. So as today's inductees demonstrate, our alumni athletes carry their commitment to excellence and their Red Dragon pride well beyond our campus. I'm pleased to join in honoring them today, and I offer my congratulations to our new members and to all of the members of the Athletic Hall of Fame. Thank you.
At this time, before we begin, I certainly would like to recognize any Hall of Famers who are currently here this morning to stand to be recognized, those who have been previously inducted, and I have seen some of them out there, so if you could please stand, and we do have some on the stage as well, if you could stand to be recognized at this time. And also, all year long, I have the privilege of working with a wonderful, wonderful group of people on our Hall of Fame committee. We have some very, very good discussions about what's going on and how we proceed each year when we're trying to figure out who should be inducted into our Hall of Fame class. And I am always enlightened by the discussions because they're always pointed in the right direction of trying to find the most outstanding student athletes that we've ever had here, and as far as I'm concerned, we haven't missed yet. So I would like them also to stand, all of our Hall of Fame committee members to be recognized as well at this time. I know you're out there, if you could just stand. And so we begin. Our first inductee, Rick Bundy. Rick was a 4-year letter winner in the sport of gymnastics during the years of 1968 to 1972. Despite being afflicted with polio as a child, he did not let any of that affect his ability to perform. Dismounting on one leg to complete his routines was merely an adaptation that Rick made extremely well. Rick was a consistent scorer for the team during his career on the still rings and the parallel bars. He also contributed to the team's successes on the most difficult event, the pommel horse. Rick was a team player in every sense of the word and did what was necessary to help the team succeed during his 4 years. Rick's incredible ability helped him achieve gold medalist honors in 1970 on the still rings and in 1971 on the parallel bars at the North Atlantic Gymnastics League Championships. Rick has spent his professional career involved in many areas, such as consulting for technology and software companies, and in information systems and business processes. He is currently the president of SUNY Enterprises, LLC, in Waterbury, Connecticut, where he owns and operates a chain of convenience stores and gas stations. So let's please welcome our first inductee for 2008, Mr. Rick Bundy.
When I was 2.5, I contracted polio. That was 1.5 years before the vaccine was even developed. When I was 4 years old, I had my first chance to actually try parallel bars as I was going through therapy to learn how to walk for at least the second time in my life. At various other times through life, using crutches and having other kids kick them out from under me, I had a chance to really maneuver on something as similar to parallel bars as one could find on this earth. I think now, looking back, I have no clue who won the Nobel Peace Prize last year or the year before, nor do I know any of the famous actors and actresses. But 40 years ago, my coach John Boomer helped me and supported me in learning and doing better in gymnastics. 30 years ago, Joe Federo did the same for me and said, do all you can and do it as well as you can with what you've got. I thank those folks and my family and everybody else in the Alumni Association for this honor. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Tom Canistro. Tom was a standout basketball player for the Red Dragons from 1965 to 1968. He played two full seasons at Oneonta and was team captain during his final 2 seasons. An injury forced him to miss his final season in 1968-69. In his first season with Oneonta, he was 4th on the team in scoring with 204 points and 3rd in rebounding with 127. During the 1967-68 season, he led the team in both scoring and rebounding, averaging a double-double at 16.1 points and 12.2 rebounds. At the conclusion of the season, he was selected as an All-SUNYAC and All-Region player. Tom has spent his professional life as a teacher and coach in Cooperstown School District, where he earned honors for his teaching and coaching at all levels. Under his direction, his basketball teams have won multiple league and sectional titles. He is currently in his 32nd year serving the Cooperstown School District. So please help me welcome Hall of Famer 2008, Tom Canistro.
There goes the hair, Tom.
Congratulations, Tom.
It's not often I get to do this. Thanks, guys. Before I start, I'd like to personally congratulate the individuals today who are being inducted. We are a family, and we are a cross-section of Oneonta State athletic history. I'd like to thank the college for giving a boy from Oneonta the opportunity to play basketball and become an educator. I remember Doc Chase coming to see me play basketball at Oneonta High School. One day he asked, "Would you be interested in coming and playing basketball at O State?" My answer, maybe. The reason? Other schools had contacted me during the season. At Oneonta, we had a great team under a great coach by the name of Mr. Tony Drago. That year, we won the league in Section 3 Class A title, and we were ranked one of the top schools in New York State. After the season, decisions had to be made, so my family and I sat down to come up with a plan. I came from a large family with limited financial resources, and Oneonta State was a clear-cut winner. The reason? My father said so. Education was important, and I'd be the first to go to college and hopefully graduate. It doesn't seem possible that it's been 43 years since I played basketball in a packed Doc Chase gym. As I looked at the Wall of Honor last night, it brought back memories of playing ball with guys like George Worthmiller, Brian Hassett, Bones Jones, Les Grigsby, Deacon Davis, Mac Lee, Sean Cairns, Wally Lord, to just name a few, or watching the great soccer players and teams of my era, or getting to know guys like Jim Burr, Brian Lamb, Laddie Decker, Steve Walcott, Kevin Crotier, Farouk Qureshi, and many other great athletes at O State. It was a special time, historically speaking, since I taught history for 33 years, so I'm going to take you back. We had the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Steppenwolf, the Doors, the Animals, the Temptations, the Box Tops, Brawlers, Co-eds, the miniskirt, political protesters, the war, economic problems, 29-cent gasoline, and downtown Oneonta. Yes, life was good. At Cooperstown, I've had the honor to coach 11 different sports at various levels, from the first school's league, championship, state ranking, and Section 3 Class C championship in girls basketball, to coaching my two sons in soccer, both having an undefeated season. After 31 years of coaching at Cooperstown, I'm still doing what I love, coaching. The other day, I was in the bus garage to check on a transportation problem, or as the bus people say, I show up to shoot the breeze. The head of transportation department, Terry, asked me if I knew how many miles I've traveled in a yellow bus, and I said no. He estimated that I've gone 600,000 miles in my career at Cooperstown, and thinking back over the 5,000 student athletes that I've had the honor to coach and teach, and it has been a great career and a lot of fun. No matter what you accomplish, there are countless people along the way who contribute or lay the groundwork for you. I would like to take this time personally to thank some of them. This is going to be a tough one. Mr. Tony Drago, and he is here today. He was my high school coach, teacher. He taught me basics and that family will always win out in the end. Dick Burr and Vince Foti for all their help on and off the court here while I was at Oneonta State. Dr. Hoyt Jackson of the history department, Dr. Raymond Terrell of the education department for helping me succeed as an educator. Bruce Andrews, my longtime assistant and friend. Ed Kassler, my first college coach, who belongs on the wall here at Oneonta State. You should succeed in working hard and stand up for what you believe. George Worthmiller for being a friend, colleague, and buddy for 43 years. And Mr. Don Flewelling, a true friend and mentor who started me in this endeavor. Coaching is fun, hard work, be prepared, and take care of the little things. Be able to change with your talent, and your team is part of your family. These are just a few of the people who helped me along the way to become an educator first and a coach second. But most of all, I have to thank my best friend and wife, Suzette, for over 35 years of continuous games, scrimmages, cold dinners, late nights, canceled bus trips, scouting trips, summer camps, she always said, "We'll manage." As you can imagine, I've conjured up memories of the past for all of you to enjoy. So in closing, memories are what we have, memories are what we dwell on. Don't be afraid to look back and enjoy them. So in the famous words of Rod Stewart, may we grow to be proud, dignified, and true. For in my heart, you'll always stay forever young. Thank you to the committee and the college for this great honor.
Gladstone Hutchinson. Gladstone is another in a long line of men's soccer players that ruled the pitch in the early 1980s as a fierce defender. During his 3-year career as a starting varsity player from 1980 to 1982, he played on an ECAC championship team, served as team captain, and was an All-State and All-SUNY player. During his varsity career, the program put together a 28, 19, and 6 overall record that included a 10, 4-1 record in the SUNY as well. After graduating with honors in both economics and business, Gladstone continued his education at Clark University, where he earned a master's and a PhD in economics. He has also earned a certificate in higher education management from Harvard University, which he did so in 2003. He is currently employed as an associate professor of economics and business at Lafayette College, where he has been a member of the college faculty since 1992. Gladstone has been such a true friend to Oneonta State, the college. He has been such a great ambassador, and every time he comes back, he just kind of lifts us all with his smile and just the way he approaches what he does in life. So please welcome Gladstone Hutchinson to the Athletics Hall of Fame.
I want to thank everyone and the school for the gift of this honor today. Today is a very special day, and I will try to keep my remarks brief, though I warn you, I'm a college professor. If I say love you to my 7-year-old daughter, Christine, she always replies back, love you more. I always find this endearing, but kind of corny. Love you more. It's always a game to see who has the deepest love. Until I started to think about the meaning of my coming back to Oneonta today. When Coach Stam picked me up midnight, August 11, 1979, at Kennedy Airport, his immediate embrace, warm, deep, quickly overcame my anxieties of traveling for the very first time and certainly flying on an iron bird for the first time in my life. Over the next 4 years, Coach taught me the meaning of the 2 mantras I saw at his home. A winner never quits, and a quitter never wins, and you can never run easy and expect to win the race. Coach taught me about carpentry and about raccoon hunting. He also taught me about life. He and his family, loved me and made me feel very secure. Today, Coach, for all of the love that you and your family gave me, I feel it, but I'm telling you today, love you more. Love you more. And the many professors, including Schramm and Ring and O'Day and Lubell and Cost and Hill, among a whole host of others, administrators like Dean Fode and Dean Briesma, Bird, the registrar, and so on and so forth, Coswell, all of them hawkishly watched over my development, made sure that I understood what it meant to be a student athlete. I say to all of them, love you more, love you more. And Celia Smith, who showed sympathy, she was the only one who did. When on September 25th, 1979, I got frostbitten. And my team thought it was quite funny that before winter even came, before fall even came, I was already freezing. Celia showed me sympathy and concern, and over the years, she also talked to me about life and actually found me an apartment at Clark University where I went to graduate school. Her friendship has been everlasting, and I say to Celia wherever she is, Celia, love you more. And I had two very, very special mentors, Professor Carson, Professor Watkins. They never came to one of my soccer games. And when everyone called me Flooney, they said, I won't call you Flooney, I'm going to call you Gladstone. Because we want our presence in your life to always be something that drags you back to the other self that you have. Your ability for scholarship and your ability for citizenship. So we want to always remind you of those deeper selves. So I say to Professor Carson and Watkins, who passed away, love you more, love you more. And my teammates, a model United Nations, from all over the world, whether they be Dave Ranieri, who is here, or Alex, or Tosh, or Tony, or Paxton, or Fuller, or Oscar, or Amin, or Carnell, Chad, and on and on and on and on. I was warmed by their comradeship and special love. With them, I never had a bad day at the office, irrespective of the score of the game. To each of them, wherever they are, I say to them, love you more. And to Suko, my Oneonta, the place where the hills are joyful together when you are traveling up, coming in. Oneonta took a big chance on a kid from Jamaica who was disorganized, not very focused. Coach recruited me as a goalkeeper. I became a central defender. Oneonta really allowed me to understand my promise and made me have ambition. I want to say to Suko, for all the love you showed me, love you more. Love you more. And I want to thank Suko for the continuing my incredible journey, which started with a jock who became a student athlete and who has now gone on to confidently discover and pursue his life promises. Love you more. Thank you very much.
This is such a special day, such a special day. Liz McGrail, quite a tremendous three-sport athlete, one of the all-time greatest at every sport she played. From the day she put on an Oneonta State uniform, her teams transformed into championship caliber programs. She was a three-sport standout in soccer, basketball, and softball for Oneonta during the years of 1997 to 2001. During her 4 years, she was a member of 7 teams that qualified for the NCAA tournament, including 3 as a senior. In the sport of soccer, this was the program's first All-American. It's still the only first-team All-American we've ever had for women's soccer. She graduated as the school's all-time leading scorer for both men's and women's soccer with 137 points. During her time with the soccer program, the team amassed an overall record of 65 wins, 15 losses, and 6 ties. During her time, they won 3 SUNYAC titles, qualified for 3 NCAA tournaments and 1 ECAC tournament. She's the only woman in SUNYAC soccer history to be selected as the conference MVP 3 times. As a member of the basketball team, she was a member of the only 2 SUNYAC Women Championship teams that we've ever had, and she finished her career with 289 points and 236 rebounds. As a 3-year member of the softball team, she helped lead the Dragons to 2 conference titles and 2 NCAA berths. She still ranks in the top 5 career-wise in doubles, average, slugging percentage, total bases, runs batted in, and triples. She is currently our head women's soccer coach, and this last fall, in her first season, she led our team to a SUNYAC championship and a berth in the NCAA tournament. So please welcome Liz McGrail to the Oneonta State Athletic Hall of Fame.
In my career, I got to play against Mia Hamm and Abby Wambach, and today, standing in front of you, I'm 10 times more nervous to get through this speech. So I hope you'll bear with me. So first, I'd like to thank the committee for giving me this honor. I'm both honored and humbled to be on the stage with so many very successful people. I had the pleasure to play with Paul Post-Chard for 3 seasons. I also played for Flu's softball team for 3 seasons. As I had time to reflect on my athletic career here at Oneonta, which I hope is just beginning, I've thought about where I was when I arrived, what it has meant to play 3 sports here, and where it has brought me today. I think about all the great times I had both on and off the athletic fields and court. I think about how very different it was to play for Dave and Tracy Ranieri than it was to play for Don Flewelling and John Speranzi. And somewhere in the middle, there was Dan McGraw, Tom Moriarty, and Norm Kaufman. I learned a great deal from each of them. I became a better player in each of the sports that I played. I believe I'm a better coach today because of each of them. I think about the teammates and how I would not be here today if it weren't for every one of them. I played 3 sports and was a part of 3 very successful programs. I got to go to the NCAA tournament in all 3 sports in my senior season. I can't put into words how thankful I am for those experiences and how proud I am to have played for players like Paula Post, Missy Labar, and Sonata Mihanovic. But what athletics has done for me goes far beyond the accomplishments that I have. It goes beyond the awards that I can hang on my wall. It has made me the person I am today. When I learned how to take the lessons that I learned on the field and apply them to the rest of my life is when I learned the true path towards my success. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to thank the people who have most influenced me in my life. This is going to be hard. First, I'd like to thank my family. For those of you who don't know my parents, James and Catherine McGrail, they're both Irish immigrants and they came to this country for a better life. They've been married for 42 years, which is an amazing feat in a minority these days. They raised 12 children, which is also a minority these days. And I'm only one of their success stories. Of their 12 children, 11 of them have at least a bachelor's degree. The other had a 4-year career in the Air Force and is now in his 15th year as a New York City police officer. I want to thank my parents for instilling in their 12 children the work ethic and family values that define them. We were taught to be honest, take accountability, and to look after each other. My mom is the most caring and warm-hearted person you'll ever meet. She's been my biggest fan. She's always there for me to talk to, and to give advice even when I didn't want it. And thank God for her great sense of humor, because I've given her my share of heart attacks. My father is the most intelligent person I've ever met. I think I get my personality and my athletic ability from him, and unfortunately, my Irish temper. He is just as competitive as I am, and to this day, if I ask him to come to one of my games, his reply is, "Are you planning on winning?" And thankfully, he hasn't left a game at halftime since high school. Thanks to Mom and Tracy for keeping the faith. The greatest thing about growing up with 12 children in one house was there was always someone to play with. There was always some competitive game going on inside or outside, whether it was football in the living room, while Mom was in the kitchen screaming, "What the hell is going on in there? The house is shaking." Or any of the Olympic events that were going on in the backyard. I have to thank my brothers and sisters for teaching me how to compete, how to believe in myself and each other. They taught me to never give up, and if it wasn't working, find another way. They taught me to, my family was the first team I've ever been a part of. My brothers, John and Stephen, would pitch to each other for hours, and they would have the 4 youngest siblings chasing baseballs for hours. I think Patty and I were the only ones that stuck around for it because we loved it. And then when they had had enough and it was our turn to hit, they'd say, "You're only getting 5 pitches, so you better swing at every one." When we played soccer in the backyard, they would tell me to stand over by the goal, and when the ball came up close, just kick it in. Well, I guess that's where I learned how to finish. Aside from Little League, high school athletics was my first real experience with organized sports. 2 incredible influences in my athletic director, Mrs. Marilyn Ballard, and my high school soccer coach, Mr. Jeff Gearhart. They both hold a special place in my heart. Mr. Gearhart's good nature and wise mouth always made playing for him adventurous. To this day, Mrs. Ballard still shows incredible loyalty and support at any event that I participate in or coach. She has always made sure that the voice of high school athletic programs was heard, and if any of you know Mrs. Ballard, you know her voice. Aside from being my first real mentor, she's become a great friend. She has taught me more about dedication to a program, and more importantly, self-respect and pride. Being true to oneself is one of the greatest gifts a person can give. When I arrived at Oneonta as a transfer, I was not expecting to stay more than 1 semester. But during that semester, I worked out with the soccer team during their non-traditional season. That semester was a turning point in my life. It was the first time that I truly got to know Dave and Tracy Ranieri, the biggest influences in my life and the greatest coaches that I've ever met. Funny thing, it wasn't their soccer skills, only their soccer skills that they taught me back then, but how to apply what I knew and did on the soccer pitch to my whole life. They've inspired me to be proud to give 100% in everything I do and give back to those who have helped me along the way. To experience their enthusiasm and their passion about life has inspired me to instill those traits and characteristics in all the athletes that I encounter. Whether they will be Oneonta's next All-American, the Headwaters campers, or my 2-year-old nieces. Although they were the greatest influences, Dave and Tracy are not the only trophies Oneonta State had to offer me. I know that I cannot mention them all, but Eileen McCrafferty, Dr. Alan Donovan, Karen Brown, Steve Perry, and Bart Inglesall are just a few of the incredible people who have contributed to my success at Oneonta. Without their guidance and support, I would not feel the family atmosphere that I do here. Finally, I want to finish with a piece of advice to all the young athletes here today. Live for today, seize the moment, and be able to look yourself in the mirror. These are all cliche lines that ring true. But what I really want for all of you to be able to look back on what you have accomplished and be proud of what you have done. Be willing to teach your experiences, and most of all, I want you to stay true to yourself and be proud of where you came from. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Julie Merchant. Julie was a standout in the sport of field hockey from 1980 to 1983. During her 4 years with the program, the team had an overall record of 55 wins, 23 losses, and 1 tie, while qualifying for the national tournament in 1980, where the team placed 8th. At the time of her graduation, she set the career march for goals and points, which still ranks her in the top 5 all-time in the history of the program. Her postgraduate life has been spent working in systems engineering and intelligence as a federal employee since 1986, while also coaching the sport of field hockey. In 2007, she coached the Western Albemarle High School squad that won the Virginia State title, while earning also Coach of the Year honors for herself. Julie has advanced degrees from West Point and the University of Alabama at Huntsville, and she is considered to be one of the country's premier thinkers on biometric intelligence. She is currently employed by Harding Security Associates as Vice President for Identity Intelligence. Please welcome Julie Merchant to the Athletic Hall of Fame.
Wow, what a humbling moment. I couldn't echo Gladstone's thoughts from last night better. It's truly a beautiful day. And I'd like to take the opportunity to thank both the college and the committee for making this beautiful weekend a possibility. I came to Oneonta State as a 17-year-old junior in high school, having decided to skip my senior year to come play a sport that I loved with a sister that I loved. She was a senior when I was a freshman, and we had never before, because of our age difference, played on the same field together. I should add that the college did offer academically what I was looking for, but it was hockey that drew me here. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. That fall was a magical year, not only playing with her, but going on to compete in the national tournament prior to the establishment of NCAA for women, placing 8th, competing with a group of women who were committed to the idea of excellence, who didn't believe in mediocrity and knew what it'd take to put on the field to achieve it, was a foundational experience in my life as a 17-year-old freshman. And standing here today, 10 years after the time when my sister was inducted in the inaugural class, is truly an incredible moment in my life and brings great closure to that decision in the spring of 1980 to forego that important year in a high school person's life to come here. And I want to thank Dick Burr from the admissions office, who's sitting in the back, who really worked hard to make that a possibility for me. 25 years ago, I sat in a classroom across the street under the tutelage of Dr. G. Hell Chase. And it makes me happy to see many of you in the audience who would know Doc Chase, who's also a member of the Hall of Fame. I was there with a bunch of jocks. We were all seeking the certification required to coach in the public school system if you were a non-teacher. And the very first day of class, Doc Chase marched in, and if you knew Doc, he had a glint in his eye when he was saying something important. And he basically said to us, okay, so if you don't know it, taxpayers fund interscholastic and intercollegiate athletics. And you should know that they don't pay all of that money just so kids can play a game. They do it because sports offers an unparalleled educational opportunity, the ability to set goals, to realize the discipline that it takes to achieve those goals, the commitment, the ability to look left and right, forward and back, and have the trust in a person to do their job, a person that you might not consider your best friend. Athletics takes all of those things to be successful at. And my message to this group of intelligent, strong, beautiful young women here to my left is that you should take heed of that. Because as a corporate vice president, I'm telling you that it's not just what's on your resume or the technical competence that you bring to your field, it's those intangible qualities that you're learning right now on the fields of competition that will make you a truly valuable employee to whoever you work for. So honoring Doc Chase, I'd just like to say thank you to the people that made this experience possible for me. For the coaches and the athletic directors, Carol Lazina sitting in the back, who fought for the opportunity that wasn't guaranteed for women at that time to play sports. For that same group who taught us life's larger lessons. I can't say thank you enough. To my parents who inculcated the same core values into us every day, who followed my career and my sister's career for over 30 years, who was there all the time, win or lose, teaching us it wasn't just about the final score that mattered. Thank you. And for all of you taxpayers, because I'm one of you now, who look down at your paycheck and realize the amount that's taken out, some of which funds the game that you play, thank you, because if I've achieved anything on or off the field, it's because of the opportunity that you gave me. And I'd like to think I was a good investment. Thank you.
Our next inductee, Paula Pulse-Chard. Paula achieved what no other women's basketball player ever had in the history of the program when she was selected as a WBCA Kodak Division III All-American in 2001. As a senior, she led the Red Dragons to its best season ever of 26-2 while capturing the program's second SUNY title and qualifying for the NCAA tournament. As a senior, she earned the Player of the Year trifecta, if I can use a basketball term, when she was selected as the SUNY, ECAC Division III Upstate, and NYS WCAA, which is the New York State Women's Collegiate Athletic Association, Player of the Year. She was a 2-year captain and a 2-time first-team All-SUNY selection, while also earning ECAC and Conference Player of the Week honors multiple times during her final 2 seasons. Academically, Paula was a 2-time recipient of the Lee Abbott Female Scholar Athlete of the Year Award, while also earning honors from the New York State Women's Collegiate Athletic Association and the SUNY. She was inducted into Chi Alpha Sigma, which is the National Student Athlete Honor Society, and was a recipient of an NCAA postgraduate scholarship. Paula graduated from Oneonta with a bachelor's degree majoring in both elementary education and studio art, and received her master's from Oneonta in 2006. She is currently an art education teacher at Skineva Central School, and just as I say, 2 of the athletes up here today I had a chance to witness play, and the most memorable moment from Paula was a 4-overtime game that we went over and watched at Hartwick, where she was just incredible, and also when we played in the NCAA tournament, just a sweet player that could just shoot that ball, and what a tremendous athlete. Please welcome Paula Pulse-Chard into the Athletic Hall of Fame.
I think being a teacher that I would be used to giving speeches and stuff, but not my ideal thing. I'll try to do my best. First, I would like to thank everybody at Oneonta for this recognition. I've certainly cherished this moment forever and this achievement. I would also like to thank my family, who they've always been there and supported me. I know when it came time for basketball season, I really don't think they ever missed a game. They traveled all over the state for many hours Whether it was, raining or sleeting, no matter what type of weather, they were always there, and I thank them for that. As a freshman, I was fortunate to learn from a group of seniors on what it takes to make a successful team. And through the hard work and determination of my peers and myself, we were able to carry that on and continue that success through my senior year. My success on the court was a direct result of the people I was surrounded by while attending here at Oneonta. I'd like to thank all of my teammates and the coaches, as well as everyone that was in the athletic department, for contributing to my success as a player and a person. Playing basketball for Oneonta was a wonderful period of my life, and I have so many great memories, and I wouldn't trade them for anything at all. Oneonta is a family I will always treasure, and I thank you very much for this recognition.
Mr. Jim Burr. Jim will have the distinction of being the college's first honorary inductee into the Athletic Hall of Fame. The category was established to honor those individuals who have made significant contributions to the enhancement of the athletics department at the college over a period of time. And it's gone out. Turn the switch on. Okay, where were we? All right. Individuals, this category of honorary inductees, for those individuals who have brought distinction to the college, not only when they were here during their time as a student athlete, but also their subsequent years after graduation. Jim was a member of the men's soccer team, which not too many people may remember, but he did play goalie for us in 1964 and 1965. His greatest career highlight was recording 27 saves against Brockport as a freshman. The 27 saves is still the second most all-time in our men's soccer program. Jim's greatest accomplishments, though, have come post-graduation as the highest-ranking men's basketball official in the NCAA. He has been officiating since 1972, and he has officiated 16 NCAA Final Four games and 7 national championship games, more than any other official in the history of the NCAA. He is the ECAC basketball coordinator of officials and is the only basketball official to be selected as one of the top 50 most powerful people in college basketball. Please welcome James Burr to our Athletic Hall of Fame.
I'm sorry. Good morning. When Ona called me about 3 or 4 months ago and told me that I was being inducted into the Hall of Fame for soccer, I told her she made a very, very big mistake. And she says, "Oh no," and I said, "Well, you better check this out." And I think what happened is they mixed Gladstone's records up with mine. My experiences here at Oneonta State were fabulous. The two gentlemen that brought me here, Garth Stam and Dick Burr, came to Henderson, New York in a snowstorm and recruited me to come here to play soccer for Garth. Unbeknownst to them, I had an inside passion of officiating basketball. I officiated basketball in the intramural leagues. I officiated basketball in the leagues here in Oneonta. I had the distinct pleasure of playing soccer for my good man Garth and then teeing him up in a basketball game in the wintertime when he didn't like some of my calls. I attribute my success to officiating twofold. One is I always did it my way. That may seem egotistical to you, but when you're dealing with Bob Knight and Jim Boeheim, and Jim Boeheim, you all are Syracuse fans, so I will tell you that Jim Boeheim is like going to have a root canal without Novocaine. I've dealt with Coach Knight. I see this little girl down here. I can't tell any stories about Coach Knight because my language would offend too many people. He's a bully. I've thrown him out. He wants to well, let me, for the student athletes back there, how many of you guys ever got a technical foul? There you go. That's not good. And I know Vince has, okay? I know he has. How about you ladies? How many of you got a technical foul? Any of them? Where's your coach? Did you get one? Not coaching. Oh, as a player. Good answer. So you see, if I could give you an explanation of what I look at this, of what I do, is if you love the game of basketball as much as I do, I'm what they call the keeper of the game. I know that you want to win. I know that you want to win. And if you were to play each other, my job is to make sure that there's a level playing floor and both teams have an opportunity to win the game. That's what my job is. And I think you're very fortunate. I see the play Hartwick because when I was here, and I think Garth would stand up for this, Hartwick looked down upon us. They were Division I soccer and they were a Division II basketball team. They didn't have the time for us. So I think it's great that they've come down to our level. And that's all I can say because I know you're playing them this year. And no matter what happens, the losing coach calls me because I assign the officials. So somebody's going to be unhappy. I really was amazed at one thing here. I was the only person who had their picture in here that hasn't changed a bit since they went to school here. I was fascinated. I'm honored. I had a lot of good times here. I can remember some of them. When you get to be my age, you can't remember them all. But to the student athletes, you've picked a terrific school. You've picked terrific coaches to play for. I do not know the ladies coach, but I do know Vince, and he's a terrific guy. I know the administrative staff because I've had to deal with them. I know many of the ex-coaches that were here, and they were all devoted to student athletes. And this, to me, is an honor for these people, but I think that this shows you what all you folks can try and achieve in your life. If a little fat guy like me from Henderson, New York, can have the success that I can, you people can have the success that athletics brings to you. Take what it gives you. My kids all play. I have one other thing to say. It's funny. I'm the only official who's #1 in officiating and the vice president at home. My sons beat my fanny in golf. And in the wintertime when I come home, the dog bites me. So I have a lonely job. Nobody likes me. How many people have ever booed an official? See? So, but I love my job. I like what I do. And one other note to you student athletes. You laugh about this, but when your careers are over and you want to make an extra buck or you want to do something and you want to keep your hand in the game, and for those of you guys that don't make it in the NBA, you ought to consider this. You should think about officiating. And I think we need good young people, both at the women's side and the men's side, that are dedicated to the game, know the game, and want to give something back to the game, and believe it or not, get paid to do it. How good is that? On a serious note, it's an honor to be here. I'm flabbergasted, if you want to know the truth. I had a lot of good times here, and they weren't on the athletic field. I don't know who the committee is. I don't know who paid you to get me this honor, but I thank you very much, and I thank especially Dick Burr and Garth Stam for recruiting me to come here. It was the finest 4 years of my life. Thanks.
Jim, if you ever work a game here, we would never boo you. Our final group of exciting men. The 1976-77 men's basketball team. Their claim to fame was playing in the Division III National Championship game in 1977. The team finished with an overall record of 21-6 and won the East Region Championship. The Red Dragons' run to the title began in Albany, where they defeated Stony Brook and perennial SUNY powerhouse Albany State to advance to the quarterfinals. In the quarterfinals, they faced another powerhouse back then, Boston State, and they came away with a 72-61 victory to punch their ticket to the Final Four. Oneonta defeated Hamline University 61-56 in the semifinals before falling to Wittenberg in the championship game. Now, the history as it goes, quite a bunch of guys. They certainly are, it's great to see them all. I know that they're excited to see each other. And I'm going to bring the mentor, the coach, up to say a few words about his team. Hall of Famer himself, Don Fuel.
The SUNY Conference actually started in 1960, but it was in the 70s it became national powerhouse. In 1975, Brockport went to the Final Four. In 1976, Plattsburgh went to the Final Four. In 77, we went to the Final Four. Potsdam won two national titles in 4 years. We had Albany, who was a great team, never got there. Buffalo State was a powerhouse, never got there. The conference, every game was a battle, And I think it's going to be probably that way this year for you guys in the back, so you got to get ready for those conference games. We got 5 players that are not here tonight. Kenny Ford, Andy Stevens, Carl Mabry, Joe Lewis, Jerry Wood. These are 5 guys that I really wish could have been here, but they're spread out in the country doing their thing, couldn't make it here. This team, extremely competitive. Every practice, we usually have a few skirmishes, didn't we, guys? You had to come to practice ready to go. Everybody could play on this team. There wasn't anybody that was there, just to fill a seat or take up a uniform. Every one of these guys could play. They were extremely, extremely competitive. They played their roles perfectly. They could adjust during games. They were great defensively. We ranked, I believe, in the top 4 or 5 in a lot of categories, but we hung our hat on our defense. They were smart. But the biggest thing, that I would say about them is that they really had a rapport with each other. You have to have team chemistry to get as far as we did. You have a lot of great teams, but this team had team chemistry, and I think people at the dinner kind of saw that last night, and I think downtown they saw it last night. The team chemistry is still there. We almost didn't go to the finals. We beat Boston State here to get ready to go to the finals. And during the 70s here at Oneonta State, there was a lot of problems going on with student senate and funding of athletics and so forth, and we were always battling. And after the game, I told the coach from Boston State, I said, I'll give you a call tomorrow because maybe your team is going to have to go to the Final Four, because we didn't know if we could get the money from our student senate to go. And at the time, our president, I don't think he made any of the games. He wasn't concerned about us. And we had to go up and battle for 4 hours after we'd played a game to get money from our students that they were going to get refunded by the NCAA. And they wouldn't even give us what the NCAA was going to give us. So we had a battle, and it took 4 hours to convince them to give us the money to go to the Final Four. We got the Final Four. We had to play the Hamline University, the number 1 defensive team in the country. We beat them. We got 16 down in the final game. And in a 4-minute period, we came back to be 1 down. And then we had to foul. There was no clock at the time. We had to foul, and Wittenberg went on to win the finals. But the guys did a great job. And I'll say the last word before I introduce Kevin. These guys all loved to play basketball. There wasn't a question whether they were a starter or not a starter, whether they're going to play the game, because they love the game of basketball. And when you love something, you sacrifice for it. And that's the main thing. They sacrificed to do what they loved, and they're sitting up here today, and I love them to death. And I'm now going to give you Kevin Protier, our captain. One of our captains, Ralph Christian and Joe Lewis.
Thanks. On behalf of the team, I know we're really honored to get put into the Hall of Fame. Coach basically said everything. I mean, all the stuff that I was going to say, you already. You know, when they asked me to speak, I didn't really know what I was going to, say. Thank God my parents, who basically drove up from Long Island every game, I think, Friday nights or Saturday nights, right, Coach? They were here almost every home game. They kept a great scrapbook. And the one thing, when you go back and you start reading all the clippings and everything about games, is that we didn't have like one go-to player. One game Ralphie scored, a lot of points. Next time Gary scored, or Joe, or Kenny Ford. Kenny Ford, I think, was the MVP of the Eastern Regionals, and he was the seventh man. And Ralphie, he was on the all-tournament team in the Final Four. So it wasn't just like, if you stop this guy, the team, you're going to stop Oneonta. We played 10 deep, as Coach said. You go to practice, half the time our practices were harder than the games because everybody was trying to play. The other thing, too, we really were a team. I mean, we had a lot of fun, which made it easier to, those long practices. If anybody's with us or near us last night, they know we had a lot of fun. We still do. And as Coach said, would love to thank Dr. Fody and Mr. Burr. Those guys helped everybody out on this team. Coach Marsh, Coach Mata, they were great guys. Doc Bailey. I think we forgot Guy Stanton, who was our equipment manager. If you needed a nice pair of hot socks, or your shirt was too tight when Gary got too heavy during the end of the season, Guy was there. He'd get you a warm towel coming out of the shower. I would just like to say, I really enjoyed playing with that team. For that 1 year, we made Oneonta a basketball town, not a soccer town, Mr. Sam. Everybody used to walk around campus, they'd know Farouk, or they'd know Desmond Monroe, or they'd know those guys. We used to walk around campus, everybody knew who we were. When we played Boston State, we had to put up closed-circuit TV because the gym was so packed that they had, I think, two of the audiovisual rooms. Sorry, my car's busted in town, I'm waiting. Hold on. But, sorry about that. But I really want to thank everyone. These guys were a great bunch of guys. We had a great year. And I know on behalf of myself and those guys, we'd really like to thank everybody to put us in the Hall of Fame. And especially Coach. If it wasn't for Coach, we don't get that far. Thank you.
We're going to have Coach Llewellyn call up the individual players, but we just presented a plaque to the two of the three captains, Reggie Biddings and Kevin Croce. So, Coach Llewellyn? Yeah, well, we'll be in order. They'll be in alphabetical order. She's going to hand you just read the name. All right?
Stu Ebowitz. He was our manager. He took care of us. Our trainer, Dave Bailey. Oh, no, you sure? You sure? Thank you. Al Marsh.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Came 8,000 miles to be here from Australia. Reggie Biddings. Dave Brown.
Thank you.
31 years doesn't change a bit. Gary Clark. Rob Conroy.
Thank you. Thank you, boss.
He had his suit on last night. Don Flewelling. John, three-point shot, Minicucci. We didn't have the three-point line back then.
Congratulations, John.
John's son Chris is a freshman here this year. Assistant coach Bill Motto. John Papazian. Dave Scorch the Nets Ross.
One very quickly. Thank you. Very quickly. For those of you student athletes, basketball players that came to see us old guys, that shows a lot of class. Thank you.
Dave played 9 years in Israel professional in the top professional league. Was a heck of a player. Jerome Young.
Thank you.
We thank you very much.
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed all that. That was certainly a lot of fun, as it always is. And again, we'd just like to thank everyone for coming and enjoying it with us. This is always the most fun, one of the most fun events. I mean, just to, I'm getting up this morning at, 7:15 and I'm putting on my clothes and my son Garrett's already up because he gets up at the crack of dawn every day. He's afraid he might miss something, but he said, "Daddy, why are you dressed so nice this morning?" I'm like, "Well, it's Hall of Fame induction day." And he's like, "Can I go?" So, I mean, just the excitement, he loves coming. I mean, I think he knows more about the stats of some of these players than I do, but it's just a great day, and we certainly appreciate everyone coming. And we'd just like to remind you that we do have our soccer game at 1 o'clock, and we certainly invite everyone to that. And we'd also like to remind you that some other activities are going on, the celebration of the sciences and rededication of the Science One building, beginning at 12:30, which the Alumni Affairs Office cordially, obviously invites you to attend as well. And if you'd like to stick around, we did have the basket lowered low enough so Coach Fowelling could get up there. And we're just going to have a little ceremony with the team. If you'd like to stay around, we're going to have them cut down the net. We'll have each one of you get a piece of the net, so we got a pair of scissors there for you, so that's how we'll end our day. Thank you very much for coming, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.